and welcome to the Toffee Blues Podcast. And like I say, it's been over a week now, but we're back at it ahead of our away trip to face Ipswich Town this weekend. I'm joined by Max as ever. How are you doing, Max?
Not too bad, Mad Alex. Ready to get going with another podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess jump straight in really. Obviously we I guess probably best to start looking back. We didn't do one last week, but obviously our previous match home to Newcastle had quite a few talking points to go with it, and to say the least. But I guess what were your main takeaways from the 0-0 draw we had with Newcastle 2 Saturdays ago now?
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I thought it was a well-in draw. I think draw was definitely the right result for us. I don't think we deserved anything more than that. We didn't do enough, I felt. They obviously had their chances, obviously with the golden chances, the penalty. We 1-1 a few times as well. We literally won over the bar. But yeah, it didn't. It wasn't his day, was it at all? Which is obviously good for us. But we rode the luck. But I thought we were resolute. We were quite solid at the back, and I thought we earned that point. To be honest with you, I thought we could have done more in terms of our attacking output. Thought we could have stuck it on them a bit more, made it a bit more uncomfortable for him. Felt like we gave it a bit too much respect and time to their centre halves like Dan Burn, and I felt like we could have put them under a bit more pressure and maybe nicked one, but it wasn't to be. And people were saying about the penalty, we could have had a penalty on another day, but we didn't, and it's the way it goes. But I was quite happy with the point, to be honest, walking out of the stadium.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it was type of performance that we probably saw quite a lot last season where, we weren't quite at our best, but the defense looked solid and there was never, obviously they had the penalty like you say, but there was never really too many golden opportunities that they had and they never truly looked like they were really carving us apart too much, I don't think. And yeah, like you say, I think when the defense when the team news came out, and obviously we've been hearing rumours during the week that Brantford had picked up another knock. It was looking like Mikalenka wasn't going to be available again, and as it turned out, that was what happened. And I think a lot of us were probably quite worried then that going back to the shoddy defending that we've seen throughout this season, really. But it was anything but. It was probably one of the better games I'd say Michael Keane had had in an Everton shirt for a long time. Really solid performance, and in a way, again, it was probably Tarkowski's partner letting him down more than anything. Giving away a silly penalty and that, and we've mentioned it so many times already on this podcast, just how differently Tarkowski plays next to Keane. But as we've said, it's not really Keane's fault really, and if Keane is performing, then you can't really blame him for how others play around him. I don't think really, because Keane's putting in the performance, and maybe
Yeah,
Tarkowski should have a bit more faith in him, to be honest. Again, I remember thinking James Garner as well stepped in really well and had a very good game at right back. I think there's been a few worries with him playing there. Obviously, it's not his natural position, but he kept Joelinton and Lewis Hall and Ever down that left side very quiet, I thought, and played a large part in getting us over the line for that draw. I completely agree. It was clearly a very defense-based approach, wasn't it? And we weren't offering too much going forward. But that said, as you say, on another day we could have had a penalty, had the disallowed goal in the first half as well. And Doucouré
yeah.
quite unlucky, very well taken header. So I guess on another day it could have been a bit of a smash and grab job from us really. I don't know what you think about that.
Well, yeah, I'd agree with you, but it was the same sort of like kind of like game as last season's home game against them when we beat them 3-0, because that was very much kind of like, I mean, we created more chances definitely in that other game, but it was kind of like one of those games where it could have gone either way, and whoever was going to get that first goal was going to run away with it, and it felt like that on the other weekend as well, but none of us could quite get that goal. I mean, I know how the atmosphere is when in a game like that, where especially against Newcastle, where when we were getting those chances, you could feel the atmosphere building. And if we got one, I think we'd have scored a few, possibly, as we have done before. But yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it wasn't our day. It wasn't Newcastle's day, and I think we both agreed that we can share the point there. I think that was the right result.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree about, could maybe harness that atmosphere a little bit better, and maybe sometimes you have to pick your moments a little bit better. But I think, you look at the game last season, and Newcastle were down to their bare bones, whereas we were in a very good moment. I think, momentum wise, it wasn't quite the same going into this one, I guess. But as you say, after that penalty in particular, Goodison was bouncing. That's about the loudest I've heard it really all season, to be fair. Pretty mental that, a penalty save can generate that sort of atmosphere. But I don't think I've ever seen a penalty or heard a penalty celebrated that much, a save even. Obviously because of the whole narrative around it, Gordon missing, Pickford saving it as well. Obviously to wind up the Newcastle fans. But yeah, like I say, it was one of them where, as I say, it could have gone very differently, and the moments could have very well contributed to that, I guess. But yeah, I guess looking ahead now, I guess there's quite a few winnable games we have now. I'd say I think the fixture list is looking very favourable for us now, and I think this is really a good opportunity for us to start getting points on the board. Obviously, the starts of the season wasn't what we would have liked, and our December running looks very nasty indeed. So, obviously, if we struggle through this period, I can't see us picking up many points before the new year, and that's when people are really going to start to panic, and where you know it's looking likely maybe the Freakins might get in December. If we're right down at the bottom, I don't think they'll have any hesitation in maybe pulling the trigger on Deitch, and it's managerial upheaval again in the middle of the season, which would not be ideal really. So yeah, I'd say this next run of games is quite important really. But I think we'll get more a bit more into that later now. But just looking ahead straight away to Ipswich, what are your feelings going into this game on Saturday?
It's a bit of a strange one, is because obviously newly promoted club, it's never easy, is it? Especially going to their ground as well. I feel like it'll be like like a quite a strong atmosphere, and they were building up a bit of form before the international break. I felt. I know they had what was it, the draw with Villa? Did they draw with Villa? Villa
Yeah,
was
they
it?
did, yeah.
And they've had I know that they're still not really picked up a win yet, have they?
Mm.
Right, but they seem to be they seem to have that kind of like fighting spirit to them, which is like kind of like synonymous or like similar to maybe like a Luton, whereas you're never really gonna you're never gonna take 3 points from them easily. It's going to be a tough game, especially at their ground. They're going to be well up for it. But I think it'll be another tough game to be honest on the weekend. But you just hope that we can start changing this narrative and start building up and getting these wins on the road against Ipswich, and then we can look on to like Fulham then, which is at home, which is going to be another tough game. But with the upcoming games, they're quite handy really, and we need to make sure that we're getting at least 3 wins for me out the next five, to be honest,
Mm.
or 5 or 6, because we have, as you said, got a really tough December, and we never do well in December. It feels like, especially when we've got Manchester City on Boxing Day as well. So yeah, it'll be a tough game against Ipswich, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. As you say, still haven't got a win yet back in the Premier League, and at Portman Road, they'll be licking their lips out of this one, I think, and really thinking that they can get on top of us a bit here and cause us to crumble a little bit and get themselves a result. As you say, you could see just how much we struggled against the likes of Luton last season. Lost 3 games, failed to beat them in any of them, including that cup match. Um, Obviously, we managed to get a draw at Kenilworth Road, but the pressure was kind of off us at that point because we'd already confirmed safety. So yeah, it's probably not the best comparison to make. But obviously, Ipswich played very differently to what Luton did. Obviously, Luton were a lot more pragmatic, I feel, than Ipswich are. Ipswich like to play out from the back, and and we'll probably have the majority of the possession on Saturday. I think that was one of the main reasons we came unstuck against Luton is that they allowed us to have a lot more of the ball, and it almost feels the more of the ball we have, the less we know what to do with it. I think we much prefer being the reactive team rather than the ones trying to make stuff happen. Whereas I think at Ipswich we'll get a lot of opportunities to do that really and hit them on the break and press their defence while they're passing it around and trying to latch on to any errors. You see it with Southampton as well. They almost the goals they concede after time is it's almost of their own making really and playing themselves into trouble. So I think Dyche will really be wanting us to get onto that and be aggressive and try and put that pressure straight back onto them, really, I think, which could work well in our favour, I'd say. Um,
Yeah, combat that energy, haven't we, and try and keep that crowd down and keep that is it Liam Delap quiet as well because he's been
yeah.
like building the team, he's been scoring goals and he's scoring some good finishes as well.
Mm.
So whoever's going to play needs to be sharp and on it on the weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Again, there's another one of them, as you say, with Newcastle, and as I say, it's almost always the case with our games. To be fair, that you kind of feel that first goal is going to be vital. If Ipswich get it first, you really feel they'll swamp us, and our heads could drop, and they could, really start to punish us there. Whereas you get an early goal for us, quieten the crowd down a little bit, and it could end up being, relatively comfortable for us. So. I'd imagine that's probably what the game plan's going to be. I think we're going to start quickly and aggressively and try and get that early goal to as I say, try and dispel the pressure a little bit.
I think we've got it, haven't we? Because, like you said, if they do get that early goal or that early pressure, as you said, they're going to be licking their lips and they're thinking this is, real opportunity to get our first 3 points of the season. And, they're going to be up for playing against Everton, aren't they?
Mm.
I mean, most down the bottom are probably are going to be. But yeah, we need to make sure we manage that as best as we can and get our foot on the ball for once. And maybe, play some nice football and get and die in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I would say, I mean, speaking of Indy, obviously there's been quite a few concerns over the international break. I think he went off injured in Senegal's first match in this break, but played the last half hour of their second one, which seems to give the indication that he's, at least still match fit. And if we get him back nice and early from international duty and get him training again, should hopefully still be available to play on Saturday. And as I say, we had a few injury concerns going into the Newcastle one as well. There's still question marks over Brantthwaite's fitness, Mikalenko's fitness. James Garner's apparently picked up an injury now. Like I said, you look back on it, and we actually had quite a bit of luck really over the course of last season with injuries, but that luck definitely seems to have run out a lot this season, and I'm not
Wasn't like
entirely sure if we've played our full strength side yet. So yeah, like I say, with those injury concerns in mind, what sort of team would you be looking to play on Saturday?
it's the annoying thing, isn't it? We don't seem to be able to have like at the minute the same team week on week. It's like it seems to we always need to be tinkering with injuries and that, and then it's never our first choice back four. But it'll be pretty similar to what Newcastle was for Ghana, won't it? Really, I think it'll be very similar to that. Who comes in at right back? I feel like we have this conversation every week. Who's going to play right back? And it's like, oh my god, I think who's even available anymore? Is Young available? Young's available, obviously left back, isn't he?
Yeah.
Mikalenko back, or is he still struggling?
I'd say obviously, as we record this, the press conference hasn't happened yet, which would hopefully give a few more indications as to who might be available. I'd like to think Mikalenko will hopefully be available. Obviously, in an ideal world, we get Brantthwaite back as well. As I say, and Dye should, I'd imagine, still be fit to play if he came off the bench. That'd be obviously an enormous miss for us in an attacking sense if he wasn't available. But yeah, it would appear James Garner's going to be out. Obviously, there's no real time frame on that yet. As I say, we await the press conference. But yeah, like I say, it might very well be another makeshift team that's been put together. And if it gets to the case where Ashley Young's our only available option at either fullback position, um,
Yeah.
yeah, that wouldn't be ideal. And I'm not entirely sure what we do in that instance. Would it be maybe Jake O'Brien goes at right back or something like that? Holgate's back out on loan now. That was what we were doing when we were struggling with this back in August.
He can stay
Um,
there.
you give Dixon another start maybe in a high pressure game like Ipswich where the crowd are going to be vicious and it'll be one where things get on top of him. I don't think Patterson's going to be ready yet. It doesn't look like Coleman's ready yet. So yeah, like I say, who on earth do you play there if no one else is available?
But it's another long list of headaches that Sean Dyche has probably had at the club, to be honest, since he's come. I mean, it's never ending for him sometimes. You just wish you'd have a bit of a break where you could have like 12 weeks where you'd have the full team, but it's football, and injuries happen, and the best managers adapt, and the best players adapt. So you know, we got to do something, and I'd give Dixon another go. For being honest, I mean, who else are we going to play there? I'd rather play Dixon than play Jake O'Brien right back, where he's hung out to dry again. And it's like, if it's one bad game, if he has one bad game there, his confidence could be on the floor again. And at least Dixon, we've seen him play. I know he's still very young and raw, but at least that's his natural position. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. That's that. I say in hopefully it's not a situation we have to face, but I think if it was that, that's probably what I'd be doing as well, and hopefully what Dyche would be doing too. Is what we saw obviously against Tottenham back in August as well. Okay, so yeah, so we talked about it before a little bit, touched on it before, but yeah, our next five fixtures are away at Ipswich, then we're at home against Fulham, away to Southampton, away to West Ham, and then at home to Brentford. And I really think that on our day we could win all five of them. That they're all very much winnable games. I know Fulham are in a very good moment at the moment, but it's at Goodison. Um, Obviously, the last few fixtures don't quite contribute to it, but for a long time they had real difficulty coming to Goodison. I don't think they'd won there in the league until only a few years ago. And obviously they've had good results there the last few, but I really think that even now, like if we have a good game, we could definitely get a result there. And then the others, I think, are all very much winnable. West Ham aren't in a very good run of form. Ipswich and Southampton newly promoted sides, of course, and then Brentford at home, we have a very good record against at Goodison. So yeah, like I say, as we touched on before, we really do need to start be getting points on the board. This is obviously these fixtures go up till the week before December, which is when it really starts to get tough. Um, so yeah, I guess uh, in your head, how many points do you reckon we get out of those possible 15? And how many would you be hoping for, I guess, and just what sort of discrepancy is there between the two numbers?
Yeah, well, I think we've got to go for a minimum of, as fans, we've got to go for a minimum of nine. I think that has got to be the minimum. I mean, with that, it's quite a nice fixture list, really, if you're looking at it. But the only problem is we're very much a confidence team, and I feel like the fans are very much a confidence fit kind of thing. I think it runs through the whole club. If we beat Ipswich on the weekend, I think all fans and the players will be thinking, do you know what, we can go again here. We can get the result against Fulham. But then if we get a bad result against Ipswich, we know how that turns then, because we know as fans that's not acceptable to be losing or getting battered possibly by Ipswich. And then it just gives that sort of like culture of negativity again. So it's a huge factor in us as a club. To be honest, Everton is that confidence factor. If we beat Ipswich, I'm quite confident we can go on that run of where we went on those runs on 4 games on the trot winning. Because obviously Fulham at home, if we stick it on them with the crowd behind them after a win against Ipswich, I think we'll turn them over quite comfortably. Even though they're a good side, don't get me wrong, and it won't be easy. Of course, they've got very good footballers, but once we get through that sort of like confidence barrier that we seem to have, we seem to go on those little runs, and it's kind of like come at the perfect time now where we need that run. So we have to pull out a performance against Ipswich, because if it's not, then we're chasing our tails sort of thing. And I think we've got to be aiming for at least 9 points. And I think that's the minimum standard, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I completely agree. And as you say, I think we're very much a streaky team, and kind of have been since Dyche came in. Really, you look at those little spells last season. We had that run of like 3 or 4 games where we won on the trot after the points deduction came in around November, December time. Then obviously we had that few months where we couldn't get a win for love nor money. And then we ended the season really well and got like, what was it? I think we won our last 5 home matches and things like that, and got a few draws here and there. And so yeah, like I say, I think we're very much a confidence team. I completely agree. And yeah, we kind of like to have like that in different spells of form, really, where we win a few and then we lose a few, and then it takes like one game to kickstart it again. I completely agree. I think this Ipswich one is almost certainly going to be the trigger. And like you look, as I say, you look at all those 4 games. They're in consecutive weeks as well. You got Ipswich, Fulham, Southampton, West Ham. Then there's another international break before we play Brentford. But if we can get that momentum going, which starts with the Ipswich game, as you say, then we could very well be having 3 or 4 wins in a row. going forward, going into that international break, which would put us in a really good moment. Um, and then ready to hopefully get something against Brentford as well before the fixture list turns really rotten again. So yeah, I completely agree. I think I'd like to think at the very least we won't be losing any of them, even if one or two are maybe draws. I think fans could accept that, but like I say, definitely to start getting some more wins on the board, and we're probably not going to have a better moment than it for a while. So yeah, I completely agree that it's a very important period in our season, and probably very important for Dyche's future at Everton as well. I'd say. Um, Feels mental to be in that
Definitely.
situation where he could very well be out the door in a few weeks. But as I say, you've got to start getting results soon enough. He knows it better than anyone, doesn't he? So yeah. But yeah, like I say, so as I say, I think this Ipswich game is very important when you look at that. So what is your score prediction going into this game?
It is a weird one because I just get that feeling that you get that feeling when it's Everton, you think away to Ipswich, they're gonna be right up for it. And I'd be like, oh, you know, it could turn a bit sour this one, and we could be. But then again, they could surprise us again. I'm really unsure with this result because last week with the Newcastle one, I was quite certain that it was going to be a draw for some reason, or at least it was going to be a close 1-0 or something like that. But I can't really call this one. I mean, obviously, I'd like to think we'd win, but I actually can't see us winning. I don't know why. I just don't have the confidence in the team to pull out the result away. I don't know why. Um, I, I think it'll be a draw. If I'm being honest, I don't think we'll win. I don't
Mm.
think we'll win.
Yeah,
I
like
think
I
we'll struggle.
say, I think like I say it was something that Dyche looked to have solved for a while last season. We got quite a few good away results. But I think, you're going back a long time now for the last time we won an away match. I'm not sure if we've won one even in 2024. I'm pretty sure. Might be going all the way back to I think it's going all the way back to Burnley now, isn't it? Back in December. Um
Yeah,
yeah, I think maybe like in the cup we might have won one. I can't remember. I don't think we did, to be fair. We drew at Palace, didn't we? But yeah, like I said, this away form again, which has been an issue for so many years, looked to have kind of fixed itself a bit last season, but is right back again now. So yeah, I hadn't really factored that into it, to be fair. Places even more importance on this Ipswich game now. Get that belief again that we can start picking up points away on the road again, and it could do wonders for us. So I've always got
I think
confidence for some reason, like blind optimism, whatever it is, but yeah, I think it's, as I say, it could very well be one that we get an early goal, or it could be one that we just kind of, we're able to weather the storm for a while and then just catch them on the break and get that momentum going that way. But I don't know. I just had the feeling we almost have to win it, so therefore we'll manage to pull it out because every now and then when we're backed against the wall under Dyche, she manages to pull something out the bag. So. Yeah, I'll go for 2-0. I had the feeling that we'll manage to catch them on the break a few times and get a really good result and hopefully it turns things around in our favour.
I mean, hopefully it's nice and simple like Burnley last season when we beat them 2-0 away.
Mm,
But
yeah,
but
that's it.
like like you said, this result away, I feel like it will be the springboard for how this run of games will go. For me, I
Mm,
think it's a massive point in this kind of part of the season. I think it's quite a really important game. I think we have to make sure we win that. I think there's a lot of pressure on Dyche and the players to win
mm.
on the weekend.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree. So yeah, fingers crossed they can get the job done. But yeah, I think that basically just wraps up everything we've got now. So as ever, we're gonna end on another lineup quiz. We've done a few of these now. Um, and I can tell Max has got a little bit of a panic look in his face. Don't worry, I'm not gonna give us the last time we played Ipswich all the way back in
Oh,
2001. I wouldn't do that. Don't think either of us were alive at that point, or if we were, very much not quite watching Everton yet. But so yeah, I think
I
both
wasn't
of
allowed.
yeah, so I think both of our memories on that time would be quite hazy. So instead, uh, giving you a game that will be 5 years to the day on Saturday. So the 19th of October, 2019, we played at home against West Ham United and we won 2-0. So I'll give you that straight away. And so yeah, this is still Marco Silva time. early in the 2019-20 season.
Mm.
And I'm going to give you, if I get my phone out to get the timer on, I'm going to give you 3 minutes to name the starting 11 that played against West Ham on that day. So, yeah, so as I say, early 2019-20 season, 2-0 win against West Ham. You ready?
Yeah, I think
Right.
so. At home is this?
This is at home. Yeah, Goodison. You want to see now? I was just
Okay.
about to say you the scores then, but I'm not going to do that. That'll be spoilers. Um, but yeah, right. I am starting the timer now.
Pickford and goal.
Pickford in goal. That's one.
Right back Coleman.
Coleman was not in the squad, so that's one life lost already.
Jesus. Um, I'm really struggling with this one. Uh, Keane.
Michael Keane was starting. Yeah.
2019. Yeah, played for us. Uh, who was up front? I'm struggling with this one. Who played Blackpool?
Oh, it's a
Oh my
slow
god.
start, definitely.
I've gone blank here. I can't think. I actually can't.
A
I've
minute is
fully gone
gone.
blank. This is. What a
Huh.
stressful. Um, Pickford in goal, and then Keane. 2019. My head's got blank here. I genuinely can't think. Look, no. Well, you're gonna have to tell me. I don't know.
I think you were about to say a name there, which possibly.
Yeah. Was that 2019?
Yeah, 2019 this
Lukaku.
is, yeah. Say again, sorry.
Lukaku.
Lukaku,
Lukaku.
no. No
Oh.
Lukaku.
Um,
One life left and just over a minute to go.
I don't know why my head's so blank here. Played in the Marcus Silva era. Wow. This is awful. Right. I honestly don't know. Completely gone. It was 2-0. Bernard,
Bernard, yep.
Sigurdsson.
Jofi Sigurdsson. Well, Sigurdsson didn't actually start, to
Did
be fair. He came off the bench, sorry. But so
Tom Davis play?
Tom Davis started, yep.
2019. Right. Luca Dean.
Luca Dean, that's 5. 10 seconds to get 6.
Richie.
Charlton, yep.
Um,
And that's
City.
time. Right. Or to DB,
Oh my.
I'll just let you get that one in. That's 7. Right. So it
Oh,
was a
that was
very slow
really
start,
bad.
but managed to get like
I
5 in the last 30
can't.
seconds there.
Yeah.
But yeah, blimey, that if that's an indication of how we're going to get on Saturday, then yeah, I'm not feeling very good. But yeah, so the names you didn't say was Yerry Mina, uh, Andre Gomez, Alex
Yeah.
Iwobi, Theo Walcott, and who else didn't you say? Who else did you miss? Because you got 7. Or did I give you Sigurdsson? Well, no, that still wouldn't make sense.
Sigurdsson. Singleton.
Yeah, you said Sigurdsson, but he came off the bench. Yeah, because obviously you remembered that you eventually remembered that Bernard and Sigurdsson scored our goals. Um, yeah, I'm not sure who you've missed there, but yeah, you managed to just get into D before. So yeah, so that'd be it, wouldn't it? Yeah, so just managed to get to DB in before the fin, but so yeah, so it was 7 in the end, which isn't too bad, but I think up until with 2.5 minutes gone, you got 2. So
Yeah. A while. It took a while. When I got the goal scorers, I started thinking about it, but
yeah,
no,
so
that was
many
a poor.
players over the years. It's hard, like I say. Um, you just lose track of them all.
So,
Well, yeah, that's a bit of an inauspicious ending, but yeah, I think that's where we'll leave it. So thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed. Comment below, absolutely roasting Max for that performance because that was abysmal. But
well, I'll take it. I'll take all the flack for that one.
yeah, after then, yeah. And yeah, subscribe to the Toffee Blues channel for more Everton content, and we will see you in the next video. Up the Toffees.